Oh, poor Edgeworth. Yeah, he didn't even get his... He was accused for murder 2 months ago, and 2 months later, now all of his stuff is involved in yet another murder. Edgeworth is having a rough couple of months. Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. So, I kind of neglected this game just a little bit. I want to play it again. That's just the long and short of it. I want to play it again. So here we are. Rise from also, it's a very long chapter, so I do want to get to it as soon as possible. But anyway, Rise from the Ashes, Day 2, Trial Former. Here we go. February 23rd, 9:34 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas. Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area. Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate. Well, that's kind of bleak as all hell, but hey, I believe in you, sis. Yeah, she does definitely look a lot like, what's her name? I've already forgotten her name. Oh no. Maya Fey. She looks a lot like Maya. And definitely they look a lot very similar. I can definitely see the resemblance now. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. That's a bad idea. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there is one decisive difference between you and her. And that is... you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. Good luck. Goodbye. We'll deal with this now. My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself. Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way. Alright, let's do this. February 23rd, 10 o'clock a.m. District Courtroom Defendant... something. Oh, yeah, I completely whiffed that one. Hiya, Edgeworth. Alright, so now we know who our prosecutor is. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Elena Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Well, glad to see you're as confident as ever, Edgeworth. Good on you, good on you. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hope that personal feelings will not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. Oh, jeez. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not of those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Elena Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Murder. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. So, wow. He's much more forceful in person. Yes, he is. Welcome to Ace Attorney. You will be getting to meet Edgeworth and his abrasive side very quickly. She didn't feel like confessing to everything. However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Are we talking about that service lady? Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand. Yeah, that lady. The cough-up queen? I don't think she has anything, but... Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Ho-ho! Caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. In the middle of a court proceeding? Come on, man! For you, I have a Fiesta Bowl. Thanks? Will the witness state her name and profession? Well, I think it's pretty obvious what her profession is. And you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It's too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Right to the business. Same old Edgeworth. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? She's dodging the question. Your Honor, I raise an objection. She's dodging the objection. So this is why everyone raises their caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? No comment. Name, profession, now. Alright, yeah. Edgeworth, I'm not surprised you would be upset. She is kind of screwing around. Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. It's not even been 5 minutes and everything is already off to a rocky start. Hurry it up! Yeah, everything is falling apart. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime. Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional. Huh? What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective. And she went from that to selling food? I'm very confused. What? Mr. Starr was a detective. Miss Starr, I can't read. Why do I play visual novels on the channel if I can't read properly? That's never been explained to me, by me, or anyone else. Okay. Ha! I know who you are. Cough up. Cough up, Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see. Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Starr. Just who is this lady? If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot in the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office's personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks. So nobody would be able to get into block A or block B without permission. You would have to go in the other way. I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes? The crime took place by a car in the back of block A in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness and an arrest was made on the spot. And who was this valiant witness? Why, it was me, Your Honor. Parking lot floor plans added to the court record. Witness, did you say this very moment of the crime? Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, apprehended the chief prosecutor. It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining? If you can, then give them your worst, Miss Starr. Wait, are they talking about me? Alright, witness's account. Alrighty. Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. Alright. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend. Yes, you have a boyfriend, that's been established. I sensed something... Perhaps it was my finally home detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then, she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest. Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman. So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed? I'm still thinking about that. It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. Alright. Witness's account. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. You sensed something? So you're saying you had a premonition of the murder. It felt like... How would you say? Oh, yes. It was like the feeling you get when you reveal a pumpkin chock full of seeds. I have no idea what that means. Fair point. Speaking of a detective's intuition. Wasn't the victim, Mr. Bruce Goodman, also a detective? Yes, well, he was like a young cheese. Young cheese? Okay, I am very confused. You're not making any sense, lady. A pale white cheese, not yet tangy with experience on the streets. A greenhorn. Then it must be hard, yellowed, and sharp as a tack. Yeah, with the odor of an old cheese to match. Don't be mean! In any case, there's a lot I feel in there. In any case, there in the lot, I felt something stirring in the back of my mind. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. Holding a knife in her right hand. Alright. I need to continue to push. By garish car, you mean... Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes. Mr. Edgeworth's? Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Poor Edgeworth. All of his stuff is a victim in a crime. I feel bad for Edgeworth. Wasn't it? Indeed it was. Yeah. Edgeworth, Poor Edgeworth. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure was the defendant? I saw her from no further than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed. Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. We're dealing with Edgeworth here. I need something more substantial than that. Can you tell us what the suspect was doing when you saw her? Tell me more about this knife that the suspect was carrying. Well, I'd say the blade was about 4 inches long. Is that right, Mr. Edgeworth? It is your knife, after all. Yes, that's about right. Oh, poor Edgeworth. Yeah, he didn't even get his... He was accused for murder 2 months ago, and 2 months later, now all of his stuff is involved in yet another murder. Edgeworth is having a rough couple of months. Prosecutors are, by nature, well-versed in the location of a man's vital organs. I'm sure it was easier than boiling an egg for my egg salad surprise set. You can't testify to her ability to kill an egg. I mean, a person. Perhaps a chicken salad set would have been a better metaphor? So the defendant was holding a knife. What then? Then she thrust the pointy tip of her knife into Detective Goodman's chest. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes me calmer. But don't smile like that. Alright. How did you know? How did you... I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime. Yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to a tragedy. The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted. Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Ah! Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well. You may continue, Miss Starr. Yes, you mentioned this. This boyfriend. He's a detective? Not that boyfriend. The security guard. That boyfriend? You have several? Yes. Yes, she does. Yes, this boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for your applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks. Note to self, the judge has to think before replying. The security guard room is in the lot in A block. It's up on the second level so you can see everything from there. That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car? Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime. I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finally home detective's intuition at work. She was in B block. She couldn't have been. No. Alright. I didn't push this. Tell me at the court why you didn't try to stop this crime. You did see her raise a knife to strike, no? The defense has a point. Unfortunately, by the time I realized what was going on, it was already too late. Too late? Yes. The next moment, the chief prosecutor brought down the murder weapon. I see. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick. Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Okay, there we go. Ergo, you're a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring. I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism? I may be relegated to the lowly position of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. A photograph? You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap. I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs. Well, this is most certainly the defendant. But crime photo added to the court record. Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Elena Skye. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Ha! Your own picture! And you witnessed this! You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with a knife. As I've already said, yes. I swear on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that's a fine lunch. But, isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took on the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Skye not holding a knife? Ahem. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever feeble mind, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing. And how can you tell that? Blood splatter. Huh? See that dark crimson stain on the chief prosecutor's coat? But it's black and white. It's a black and white photograph. Ah, yes, it's hard to tell, but that could be blood. Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem, except you. Mr. Wright, are you going to just sit there and take that kind of abuse? You got a better idea. Yeah, I got an objection. There is an objection. Wait, that contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime. Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies. That's it? If you run out of lunch, you'll order seconds. Problem solved. This is a case! You can't just make stuff up as you go. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch for the get-go. Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice. I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder. Premeditated? How do you know? Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in the photograph. Yeah, well, are those gloves? Surgical gloves made thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves. Wow. Okay. Oh, this sucks. This very much sucks. These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation. Premeditated murder. A serious offense. Witness, add this to your testimony. The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it. What if she was just in the habit of wearing gloves? Like driving gloves. The gloves were admitted as evidence when the defendant was arrested. They were rubber gloves, of the kind used for autopsies. In other words, when the chief prosecutor came to the crime scene, she came to do murder. It's the only possible conclusion one can make. Everything was planned and it was a premeditated crime. Yeah. Impressive. I'm sorry they took you off the force, Miss Starr. This is bad. It is. She's got them thinking this was all planned. Was it? If she can prove this claim, the trial's already over. I've got to think of a way to show this wasn't premeditated. It's only a flesh wound, Mr. Wright. We can make it. You said that before. Anything else? Scientifically speaking, Miss Starr's testimony is flawless. Sounds pretty fatal to me. What do we do? Is this it? Is my sister guilty? Let's just keep our heads cool and press the witness a bit, shall we? For some reason, having her panicking next to me makes... Okay. Can we prove? What do we have? Usually in Edgeworth's toolbox. But Edgeworth said himself that he keeps his toolbox in the... Wait, isn't there... Isn't there a way to flip the to the testimony side of things? I thought there was a... I always thought... The murder was planned. The murder couldn't have been planned. The murder couldn't have been planned because this is usually in Edgeworth's toolbox, which I remember him saying he keeps in the trunk of his car. I'm pulling out strings here, but I'm pretty sure this couldn't have been premeditated, since it's usually in his car. Witness, do you know what this is? Are you trying to test me? I sell lunchboxes for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk. Indeed, it is in my trunk. It was my knife. Yeah. What's with this case? The blade murdered the defendant, she prosecutor from district, right? Mommy, are prosecutors bad people? The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony. What's that, rookie? In your testimony, you stated that Landskye planned this murder, and this is why she was wearing those special gloves. Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning. However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing, the murder weapon? Oh? This knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon. Okay, we got it. She's got nothing. Order, order, order! Great, now the tide is turning in our favor. Great show, Mr. Wright. My sister's as good as free. Well. Right. I believe the next lunch you'll be eating is humble pie. Oh, God. What? I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail. But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory. Bah. The prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. Fascinating. The defendant, latest guy, murdered a detective with a knife. It's cut and yeah, this is the only thing the prosecution needs to prove. Nothing else. Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now? But you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing... I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again. Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought. How dare you? My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Really now? Except that you didn't even give the right testimony. This guy intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. Again and again? The victim was summoned by the police department to the prosecutor's office. It does sound like a premeditation, doesn't it? So, if I ordered a pizza, does that mean I'm planning to kill the delivery boy? In any case, the defense may now cross-examine the witness. Alright. I already know! I already know. I already know what the answer is here. Again, only what you know for a fact. You said that, but you haven't told us how you know. That's what I'm about to tell you, rookie. I believe what she just said was a mere prelude to the story she's about to tell. Try not to interrupt her again, rookie. Never interrupt a storyteller. It's like putting a bun out of the oven half-baked. Something's half-baked here, alright, and it's you. Try not to confuse the defense witness. They're not very quick on their feet. Now, why did you believe the suspect had intentions to murder the victim? Her actions speak for themselves. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again. Might want to take a look at the autopsy report. Yeah. You say she stabbed him again and again. But you couldn't have witnessed that. Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise. Gross. I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to explain this. But take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound. Aha! You're right! Good show, Mr. Edgeworth. What a hunk. He's my hero, really. I'm the one who pointed it out. What about my objection? No one noticed? Fair enough. Poor guy. Well, witness. You got the crime scene set, right? Oh, thanks. I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible. So, you're saying you mistook something for blood? When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. That's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice. Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify. This lady is her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. What is she talking about? What's a muffler? A red muffler? Yes, like a scarf. The chief prosecutor always wears one around her neck. So it can be easily so she can be easily hanged at the moment's notice, I suppose. She's right. This guy was wearing a red scarf, wasn't she? But wait. Isn't it odd that you mistook it for a splattered blood? Well, people often mistake my beard for a bib. A judge with a bib. That's why this place feels so much like kindergarten sometimes. Actually, I do think I saw some traces of blood on her chest. However, the autopsy report is clear on this matter. There was only one knife wound. Apparently, Miss Starr isn't entirely sure of her own testimony. Mr. Wright, this is our chance. Chance for what, I wonder? Miss Starr has turned out to be as short-tempered as she looked when we met her. Challenging her abilities as a detective really set her off. The short wick burns out the fastest. It's a scientific fact. I wonder, wouldn't it depend on the size of the candle? I mean, add more wax and an even really shorter wick would burn longer. Obviously, more scientific testing was required. This guy intended to murder Detective Goodman. Okay. Okay. How do you even know that? You have no proof that Miss Sky called him there. You have no proof that she didn't. Mr. Edgeworth, thoughts? There is no record of a call made on the defendant, Miss Lena Sky's phone. She might have written him a letter. Come on, you could have tried public phone first, at least. In any case, the victim came to the prosecutor's office where he was murdered. I'm sure he has a reason to be there. Witness? Why do you think it was the suspect who summoned the victim that day? I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. What kind of grudge? Well, I wouldn't know that. Of course you don't. That's because she didn't have a grudge. Rookie. Oh, jeez. I have a lunchbox here. Now, what's inside? How am I supposed to know? See? We agree that there's a lunchbox here, but we don't know what's inside. A person's life is like a lunchbox with pretzels. Don't you agree? I get it. That's why my lunch is so salty. This just isn't very good with metaphors. A suspect held a grudge against Detective Goodman. Will you tell us your basis for thinking this? It's simple. The red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was. But again... you gave me the evidence that proves otherwise, because there's actual blood on her shirt. Ah, jeez. This is... Miss Starr, I demand an explanation. The witness is clearly not suited for detective work. What? The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself. With this photograph. Huh? But that can't be. Only a professional lunch lady could be so utterly clueless. Congratulations. Perhaps you finally found your true calling in life. Harsh words, but good. Fair enough. Yeah. In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails. What was my objection? Chopped liver? But it was there. A scarf. No, not there, but not that, but something red. Really? Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude, but back to business. What? Very well, witness, continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that. Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least. Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony. That somebody got murdered. The most important part. The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth. Alright. Well, we're figuring this out as we go. Let's see. What's my time looking like? Okay. After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Starr, resistance is futile. You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you? I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Starr. That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Don't bother me with the details unless you want to get bitten. No thanks. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. An oil drum? Hard to imagine. Oh, she's beautiful, but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will. Okay. Apprehending the suspect. After the murders, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. Partition? Oh, because that's where the stairs are. Okay, that makes sense. So, where's this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she means this wall next to the car. That's right. There's a wall about 6 feet high. She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do. And what did you do then? I quickly caught her, explained her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. I don't think you're allowed to do that without police permission. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that. You say quickly, were you close to the suspect? As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time. But you parked on the... No, you couldn't have! Maybe I should press her for more details? Press her. I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The lunch Lance's car was... She was a visitor, thus she was parked in B block. So you witnessed the murder from here. That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes? Is that correct, Miss Starr? Yes, that's correct. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course. Amazing. The Kaffa Queen lunch lady athlete indeed. It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast. Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. So how did Miss Sky not get away? Oh yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned her muffler. You're very persistent about that scarf. She mentioned the muffler. What exactly did she say? If I remember her exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky. Ah, jeez. This lady is crazy. This lady is crazy. That's all there is to it. Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler. Just that one word? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone. Her phone? She can't mean. Ask further. By phone, do you mean this cell phone discovered at the crime scene? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately. My memory is like a salmon heading upstream, you see. No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr. The chief prosecutor at first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. Huh. On the wall? That's right. Near the car, there was an emergency phone on the wall. Apparently, it was out of order. And so she used her cell phone? Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying? You should, of course, add this to your testimony. The things I do to please this rookie defense attorney. I have a perfect record so far. The word McElroy was overheard during a call made to Emma at 5:18. I saw it all. How she tried the phone on the wall but had to use her cell instead. Alright, let's press this further a little bit. Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Aha! I was going to ask the same thing. I only say this one time, so listen close, rookies. The chief prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran behind the partition. She picked up the emergency phone on the wall, but it was out of order. So she pulled out her own cell phone out of her pocket. And during that time, you climbed over the chain link fence. Then, when I boldly grabbed her arm, the chief prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her do this. What is it, Mr. Wright? Chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile. She made to escape. Can you be more specific? She brushed aside my hand and ran. It was a terrible sight to see, like a dollop of lard on a pate of foie gras. Huh? Yeah, same here! What? She even kicked over an oil drum at me. An oil drum? There was an oil drum lying outside at the scene of the crime. But it's strange. What's that? If she wanted to escape, why didn't she run the other way? The other... Ah! The parking lot entrance. That's right. It doesn't make any sense that she would run from behind the partition to the oil drums. It's excellent. More mysteries. I wish we could solve a few before finding more, though. So Miss Sky tried to run. I'm sorry my sister is so suspicious, Mr. Wright. Not as sorry as I am. But she didn't do it. You have to believe me. Wait a minute. There's a wall in the way. There it is. Miss Starr, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lena Sky. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought you would be my knight in shining armor prosecutor? You who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago. Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up. Ahem, let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. Okay, I knew there was a thread here. Order, what's the meaning of this? I knew there was a thread there. I knew there was a thread there. I knew there was a bunch of pieces that didn't make sense and alt connected. I found it. She was in A block. She was in A block because she was delivering it to her boyfriend in A block, and that's where she saw things. But that also means she couldn't have seen the murder, which means she probably took the picture prior to going over there. It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies. Ugh. That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Go ahead. Can't make any worse. Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court. Here's where the counterattack begins. It can't afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about the order of events. Well, yeah, the order of events. What she saw and where she saw it. She lied about the order of events. This guy used that emergency phone before the murder. I see. I hadn't thought of that. That took the wind out of her sails. Mr. Wright, I hate to bother you while you're celebrating your victory, but why would anyone use the emergency phone before the murder? Huh? Just when you think he can't sink any lower, he amazes us. I applaud you, Mr. Wright. You ordered the orange peel lunchbox, right? I guess that... Oh, crap. And there we go. Yay! Back to the beginning again! I found the thread and I screwed it up. Alright, I'm back to where I was. So, I said order of events last time and that got me in trouble. So I'm going to say where she saw it. This guy tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it would be pointless for Miss Starr to lie about it. Pointless to lie, I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using an emergency phone. That it would mean Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location. A different location? Now there's a pointless lie if I've ever heard one. Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask you a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony we've heard until now points to one direction. The place from where Miss Starr witnessed the crime was here. Security room. Security room, because that's where she was. This is the one place where she could have been. The security guard room? Indeed, the security room is in the underground parking lot and is well positioned. It's built on the second floor so you can see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are many other places where she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place where she could have seen the crime in the back of the position is here. I remember in your testimony you said, you brought lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr, how many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has got the better of Angel Starr. Alright, we got it. Order, order! Witness! What have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished. And I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails. The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Sky? Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? It doesn't make sense. Huh. She could have just said that she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything. Exactly. His photograph tells all. It was a defendant who stabbed the victim. The truth still stands. It still stands. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason. So, tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright. Huh? But me? Who else? Okay, fair enough. Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Miss Starr witnessed a crime from the security guard station, but she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference, but what? What would that change? Angle of view to the crime. Yeah. Why, the angle at which she saw the crime occur would change. The angle? What do you mean? Well, the security guard station is on the second floor, and, she would have sort of more of a 3D view of the crime. And this is important. Why? Crap. Perhaps you'd like to reconsider, Mr. Wright? Well, that didn't work. Let's review what we know. From the security guard station. But she lied. Distance of the crime, definitely. It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see. What she saw is not in the question here. What matters is the time which would take her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there? To the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky? Well, witness? You. Yes? You ordered the squid wheels, right? The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible. I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend. Boysenberry for a boyfriend. He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station. Uh-huh. And before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running toward the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That's why I had to go through the visitors parking in B block. That's quite a detour. Yeah, that's... It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime. 5 minutes? Okay, now I'm... No, she's full of shit. Okay. This changes things considerably. But it was that woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork. You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention. Would you like another caviar lunch? Absolutely. We're in the middle of a courtroom. Uh-oh. Mr. Wright, you have to do something. Do I have any evidence to stop this? Court record. Let's see. The badge. The ID. That's not going to work. King of Prosecutor's Trophy. Not going to work. Murder weapon. Not going to work. Parking stub. Points him at 512s. It would have happened within 5 minutes. This isn't going to help at all. You are useless, Blue Badger. Goodman's autopsy report. The memo? I have no idea how that plays into anything. The parking lot has new evidence to it, but it doesn't really prove my point. Well, this was taken shortly after. Well, she said that it was to that she hung up 5 minutes, like just before. So she started from the security station, went to the door, but it was locked, so she couldn't get out. So she went around. She hoofed it around the station, and out through the door, and into the parking lot. I'm very confused! None of this case makes any sense! Well, let's look at our options. If I raise an objection, there's gotta be something. I don't have any evidence that can prove that she didn't get there in 5 minutes. So do I just sit back and observe? Huh. If I sit back and observe, if I sit back and observe and I wound up being wrong, it's going to cost me. But I don't have any evidence that proves... Raise an objection, I guess? What could it hurt? 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest. Think about that. You can make pasta in that amount of time if you like al dente. I've got lunchboxes in all the type pasta into knots, rookie. A 5-minute blank? Isn't that strange? Strange? If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor? Well, I guess I'd flee the scene. Ah, don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone. But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. This guy dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable. Yeah. Alright, so I did have a solid argument. Well, it seems like we come to the end of this testimony. The witness has a grudge against the defendant and a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go? Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history. We did it. We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright. That was too close. It was. And that took me almost 2 hours. I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned. Hold it. What? We just... Uh-oh. Not again. Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right? That's the one she tried to foist off on me. I prefer not to take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say? I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence. You've proven that you have nothing! What was that? Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes? My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr. Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox? Woohoo! A triple-decker! Out of defense of the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence. Like the Lunchland motto, who says, you won't be disappointed. What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time? Yeah, I'm curious to see what she pulls out of her ass. I really am. I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? Okay, now you are just pulling things out of your ass. 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matched that of the defendant, Miss Lena Skye. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. What? There was blood found on the shoe? Yeah, that's just kind of That's just kind of, It's just kind of. Try lunchline for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs. I hate this. I hate... Objection. Witness, what's the meaning of this? What? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence? Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself. That's illegal! That is very illegal! And you had blood tests performed? Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics. I hate this lady so much. In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence. What? You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, the shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being. Is this right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Uh-oh. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even in general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Edgeworth, this is a problem. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. Edgeworth is looking pretty sullen. You could at least cite some evidence, law, really. The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. However, it seems you have yet another count against you, witness. Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged. Okay. Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. I'm very confused. Decisive evidence. I'm very confused, and this is taking me, what, well over 2 hours? Almost 2 hours? And it is late? I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on the shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other blood type matches that of the defendant, Miss Lana Skye. The shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence. You should have, but you didn't. Why did you lie about those 5 minutes? I guess you could say I just wanted people to look at the results. The results? How many times do I have to say this? I saw the chief prosecutor stab the victim before my very own eyes. Compared to that, a 5-minute blank means nothing. Then why didn't you just tell the truth? Don't make me laugh. We're dealing with the most untrustworthy of the vile lot known as prosecutors. Falsified evidence, arranged testimonies, erasing and manipulating evidence. When you fight monsters, you need to use every trick in the book. This when the suspect is admitting she did it. But false testimony is the most despicable crime of all, Miss Starr. Let's just get this over with. And now the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? You should have brought this up! And you found this shoe at the scene of the crime? I detained the chief prosecutor and notified the police department. I wanted to make myself useful when I was waiting for the police to arrive. So, like an ill-trained pooch, you snuck off with a shoe. I was afraid someone would erase the chief prosecutor's crime. This shoe was my secret weapon if that should happen. See this fashionable basket I have here? It carries more than lunchboxes, gentlemen. I am happy for you and your lunchbox bag, really. In any case, you removed valuable evidence from the scene of the crime. Now tell us what you did next. So, yeah, this is very illegal. This is very illegal. Don't do this. Do not steal evidence from a crime scene if you're ever near a crime scene. Do not do what this lady has done. She's crazy. So you brought it to the forensics department. If you're going to submit something as evidence in court, you need an approval. To do that, evidence must be analyzed by a forensic expert. And she got away with her little coup because she used to be a detective. The shoe does appear to have bloodstains on it. Well, the man was stabbed after all. And the blood belonged to the victim, Detective Goodman. As I said, there were 2 types of blood found on the shoe. Alright. I want to push every... You can't say for sure that the blood belonged to the defendant with a blood test. You claim to know something about the blood test, rookie? Huh? Well, speak up. Well... Blood comes in 4 types. A, B, O, and AB. However, you can't tell from a blood test whether a murder was committed in cold blood. That's just a figure of speech, Mr. Wright. Actually, we can differentiate between millions of types with all the blood tests out there. Which means that we can more or less narrow any sample of blood down to just one person. Or so I hear. That's pretty specific. If I had a little more time, I would have gotten DNA test results. But they said there'd be very little doubt it could be anyone but miscellaneous guys. So the suspect's blood was found on the victim's shoe. That ties her directly to the death of Detective Goodman. I was afraid he was going to say that. Well, what is the shoe? Alright, I can analyze the shoe, so... This blood. It's my sister's, right? It appears so. Lena's right hand was bandaged when I saw her in jail. She must have cut herself at the time of the crime. Poor sis. Alright. Well, we can analyze it. She stepped in it. Ah! There's blood here, too! On the sole of the shoe? It's gotta be the victim's. She must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood. All this blood, it's horrible. This blood might be an important clue. Well. He stepped in the blood. He stepped in his own blood. That's kind of weird. Alright. And push her here. I only have 2 more. I can't let this evidence go without a fight. You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole vat of soup. Mr. Wright, don't you have a problem with this shoe? A problem? This is critical. Is there a problem with the shoe? There's a problem. There is definitely a problem. He stepped in his own blood. If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with his evidence. A clear contradiction. That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I give you a peppered fish gut now, but you couldn't take the heat, could you? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe? Show us the problem with the evidence. There it is. I wonder if you noticed. There's blood on the bottom of this shoe. Don't mess with me, rookie. Or it'll be your blood on the bottom of my shoe. Indeed, there is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe. It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of the shoe? Huh. Well, there is the evidence. There is this. There is this. I got it, I think. Well, let's see. Well, let's see. Let's see what the evidence could be. Well, here's the thing. There's no blood puddle on the floor. So who could have stepped in the blood? He couldn't have stepped in the blood. He couldn't have stepped in it, or could he? No, he couldn't have. I guess the picture would be my best bet. The problem, it lies in the footprint. The footprint? Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't there any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? Aha! As you can see, There were no traces of any such footprint at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about the shoe. The picture only shows part of the floor, so there could have been bloody footprints. Then where are they, Mr. Edgeworth? Because we checked the scene and found nothing of the sort. Alright. Order, order, order! Well, witness? I burped. I burped. I'm sorry. What? Huh? Great going, Mr. Wright, but it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint. Oh. That's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint. Think, Mr. Wright. Think. Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions. What? Hold it. I see. Now I get it. Get what? Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in your testimony. What are you talking about? Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. Oh, she's beautiful and deadly. But deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr. I thought that was a strange thing for the normally cool-headed chief to do. No kidding. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question. This oil drum, was it empty? Oh, that, I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Answer that question! Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory. Witness, well, was the oil drum empty? The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. Water? What does that mean? Still don't get it, Mr. Wright? I get it now. Do you know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason? Aha! You don't mean... Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her. Ugh. Yeah, okay. Okay. That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs. Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty, erasing evidence. That reminds me, this guy's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say you cut herself when she stabbed him? So that's when my sister's blood got on the shoe? Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial. But Mr. Wright, do something, please. What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime and she tried to conceal it. But... Enough. There is no need for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor. Very well. But Angel Starr is on the prosecution's side. She could have been lying about the water. This court finds the defendant, Miss Lena Skye. Hold it. Little girl. What did you just say? Huh? Me? Me? Did you just say that Angel Starr, was on the prosecution's side? Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprint. Well, I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence. Wait. Witness, don't tell me you have something else. I hate this. The time for deliberations is past. Any further comments, and you will be held in contempt of court. Your threats don't scare the cough-up queen. Look at this. A photograph. I had just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim. I see no room for error in this evidence. Mr. Wright, wait, look at the asphalt in this photo. Hey, it's clearly wet. Erasing the last trace of doubt in the court's mind. Immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all. It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning. And it seems like this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia. Right. Wet or not. Don't be so quick to throw in the towel. And I just got help from Mia from beyond the grave. Again. Get yourself up on the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end. Alright. This is the last piece of evidence. Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good. Yeah, I knew we were going to get something. Your Honor, wait. What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? No. Whatever it is, can it wait? No, it can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph, the last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we get a piece of evidence proper consideration. Yeah. So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence? There's always a problem with a piece of evidence. That's how this game works. Yeah, I'll think later. Yeah, there's a problem. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this. I suppose since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem with this photograph. Well? Oh, that muffler. Wait. Well, now I've been screwed. Because I have no idea. The only thing I have is the shoe. The only thing I have is the shoe. Well, it's probably here, don't you think? I knew it. As your elder, Mr. Riley, let me give you a piece of advice. When pointing at something, at least remember to keep your eyes open. I believe he's trying to say that no one's falling for a bluff, Mr. Wright. Open your eyes, Mr. Wright. Think scientifically. I suppose since we've got... Okay. Well, it doesn't seem like it can be penalized for this one. In this photograph is here. What's this? There's something poking out of the car's muffler. Yeah, I figured there was some... Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth. Your Honor? You just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or a scarf in any kind in this photograph. A muffler is also a part of a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system. A pipe. I see. And I see! What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler? So if there was something sticking out of the car's muffler. Yeah. What does that have to do with this case? Apparently a whole lot. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony. What? Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case. Well, that's his left shoe. It's not that. That's not it. Now I can actually be penalized for this. Tell us why. Oh, she's not wearing her scarf. She wasn't wearing the scarf. She wasn't wearing the scarf, but now she has a scarf. Well, Your Honor, how do you feel about that? Actually, I don't feel very well at all. I have a pounding headache. No, I mean, what do you think about the... For the reason that the headache is you... God damn it. The cloth was found in the car's muffler, right? Muffler. Where have I heard that word? Muffler. Oh, I get it. I'm an idiot. Okay. Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court? Oh yes, when I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's why I can be confused in my earlier testimony. Muffler? Ah. Yeah. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence. Oh. Yeah, I can't do the noises. I'm not doing the noises for you guys. Well, that was a close shave. Well, it seems we'll have to suspend the proceedings. Suspend? I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, if we do the service to the law, have the car at the crime scene inspected at once and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until we've seen all the evidence. Agreed? I suppose so. Whew. That was close. But we made it. At least for now. This court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime after all. He's still hungry? I love the judge so much. I love the judge so much. Okay. Alright, well. That took 2 hours and 13 minutes. I think I'm going to be good and leave this here. Oh, gee. Oh, joy. I'm going to have to edit this now. That's my concern. I'm going to have to edit this now. And it's late. It's very late. Oh, well. I'll be fine, I think. I'll get up early tomorrow and do it. I don't feel like doing it now. Alright, but I think I'm going to leave this episode here. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that are my way of saying thanks. So be sure to check those out. Help support me, and I will help support you guys. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!